Okay, hello everyone and welcome to the 12th video in this series. I know it's been a while since I uploaded a video, but I had a lot of commitments and a lot of things to attend to. But all in all, thank you so much for watching my videos, and without further ado, let's get right into it. So for today, we're going to focus on the enemy setup and enemy animations. So finally, in the last video, we had the sprites, which is the shop sprite on top here. We had it working properly, and we had built up a somewhat relatively fun level that works properly, and the background is working properly as well. So let's focus on our enemy for today. We go into the enemy sprite, and as you can see, we have the animated sprite and we also have the collision shape. So now what we're going to add what we call an area 2D. Now an area 2D, what it does is that it just designs an area around the enemy or the player where if any object enters into it, it does whatever you want it to do. Yes, so what we're going to do now is that we're going to click on the enemy plus, and we're going to look for what it's called, sorry about this, here. We're going to look for what is called an area 2D. Create it. So now we have an area 2D for this. We're also going to add a collision shape to this area 2D. Collision shape 2D, good. And the collision shape will also have a shape, just the way we've been doing it before. We're going to give it, about this time we're going to give it a, let's say, a circle shape. We'll bring the circle here, and we can expand this circle anywhere we want. So we can expand it like this. So if the enemy should enter within the confines of this sphere, it will do anything that you want it to do. So let's make it expand it more. Yeah, this is much better. And we save it. Good. So next would be, we want to connect the signal to the enemy. So we want to connect the signal of this area 2D to the enemy so we can code it and tell it exactly what to do. So we click on our area 2D, we go to our node, and we can say we have two: body entered and body exited. So if the player should enter the body, what should it do? If it should exit the body, what should it do? So we click on our body entered, connect, and want to connect it to the enemy, and connect. Good. So we have a function on area 2D body entered, and we also want to extend our character body 2D, which is good. And we also need a couple of variables. So we need a variable to hold if the player is in the area 2D or not. So when the game starts, the player is always not inside the area 2D. So we can just say equals to null. After that, we also need the speed of the enemy. So we can just say speed, or we can say enemy speed, just so that we can understand who we're talking about. Enemy speed. And let's give it 50 for now. And we also want the detection range. So how much should at what range should the player or the enemy be able to detect the player? Good. So now what we're going to do, or we might not even need, we might not need an enemy detection range. Let's just leave it at that. If we need it, we'll come back to it. Alright, so next now we mess with this area body 2D. So what do we want to happen when we enter into when the player enters into the enemy sphere? So we can say if the body has a name of what? Player, which our player does, because the name of our, if you go into our player node, scenes, it's called player. And if we open it, it's also called player. So if the body that enters into the enemy here has the name player, then the player is equal to the body. Good. And then we also want to do body exited. Here, same thing, connect, and we connect. And we do the same thing if the body dot name is equal to player. Sorry, not this, capital letter player. It's case sensitive, so you have to be careful. Then we can say the player is now back to null now. Good. So we are done setting up what should happen when it enters and when it exits the player. Good. So now next would be to set up all the functions and everything that should happen. So we're going to create a function, and what I'm going to call it, let's say follow player, and this follow player will take delta. So this follow player, what we're going to do is that we're going to reduce, or should I say deduce, the position of the player and the position of the enemy, and use the difference in that deduction to attract both of them together. So we can just say var, let's use direction. Var direction equals to the player's position minus the position of the enemy. And then you want to normalize it also. So normalize just means that it shouldn't increase the speed based on any direction that it's facing. So whatever direction that the enemy is going, it should be at the same speed in all directions, except if I state otherwise. Good. And then we also need the velocity, so we can just say the velocity is equal to the direction times the speed. And last but not the least, we'll also speed. And last but not the least, we'll also need enemy speed. Oh my god. Enemy speed. Good. And then we'll also need move and slide as usual. Good. So now when should this follow player function be activated? So we can just come on top of here, function. So we'll use the process function, which takes delta, and say if the player is inside the body, then I want you to call the follow player function, and which takes in delta. Good. Okay, so let's play. Okay, no, first of all, let's put the player inside the main scene. Sorry, the enemy in the main scene. So let's take our enemy here, and let's just put the enemy here, let's say, for convenience. And we would also bring the player. Oh, sorry about that. Select the player. This is the player. I'm having difficulty select this is the player. Okay, what's going on? I'm not able to select the player. Alright, let's just delete the player here and bring in a new player to this place. Good. So now let's play it and see. So if we go, okay, let me turn on the collision detection so we can see visible collision shapes, and we play it now. So if we go and we enter into the player sphere, it will follow us, and we keep following. Even if we go up, it will follow. It will keep following wherever I go. Good. Okay, so at least it works fundamentally. So maybe we have to improve the speed a bit. The speed is a bit low. Let's make it 100, and we save it. So let's play it now and see if we enter into the enemy sphere. Yeah, this is better. Oh, yes. Good. Okay, yeah, this is perfect. This is perfect. Okay, so this is looking very good. In fact, I might want to expand the area a little bit, because I want to make it a bit difficult for the player to escape this area once they enter. Okay. Oh, escape. Oh, wait, escape. Oh no. All right, so we might tweak it a little bit in the future, but for now the fundamental enemy follow the player is working properly. Next, now we focus on the enemy animation. As you can see, the enemy is looking very, very dead, not moving at all. And let me see, what animations do we have for the enemy? So for the enemy animation, we have, let's see. Oh, okay, so we don't have that many animations. We just have attack, hit, and fly. So probably we're going to use the fly animation today. We're going to make use of what we have. So we're going to make use of what the animated sprites. For the player, we made use of animation player, but since we don't have that many animations here, we just use the animation sprites. I mean, that's just my own preference. You could use any kind of animation module that you want, but I'm going to use the animated sprites for this. So we go, oh yeah, thank God, we already have that. So animated sprite 2D, we have the enemy fly, attack. Okay, so it's called enemy fly. All right, good. So now let's go into the script and incorporate all these animations into them. Okay, so we have our function player, our area 2D. Let's bring them close by. Okay, so now we want to add animation so that when the enemy is idle, it plays the flying animation, and also when it's following us, it flips the sprite based on the direction that it's following us. Yeah. So first off, we're going to create a small function. We just call it let's see, function idle animation. And in this idle animation, what we're going to do is that if it's just a way to make sure that it's actually following exactly what we want. If the animated sprite 2D dot animation, or should we just say, let's not use it directly like this. Let's create a variable to hold the animation player. So let's just say at onReady var the animated sprites is equal to animated sprite 2D. Good. So now we don't have to use the animated sprite 2D directly. We can just use this. So we come back here and we say if the animated sprite dot animation is not equals to, I think it's called enemy flying. Let me just make sure. Yeah, enemy fly, not enemy flying. Enemy fly. If it's not equals to this, then just keep playing it, since it's only one animation that we have. I'm sure there are easier ways of doing this, and I will try to figure that out, but for now this is what I can think of. And just play the animation, the enemy fly. Good. Alright, so now that we're done with that, next we now have to put in the code to flip the sprites based on where the enemy is facing. So that one is very simple. If the velocity along the x-axis is greater than 0, so you are following the enemy is going right, I want you to flip animated sprite dot flip the h equals to false. You don't need to flip it for this. Elif the velocity along the x-axis is less than 0, so it's going left. Then I want you to flip it, so let's just copy this. Let's be lazy a little bit, copy this and put this here, and let's just say true. Okay, then if it's not, then we play the flying animation. So animated sprite dot play enemy fly. Okay, so I think that is it. Let's try it and see if we made any mistake. So when we play the game, it should be flying. Uh-oh, did we miss something? So okay, yeah, it is flying. Oh, it's flying. Okay, it is flying, but it's flipping the wrong way. I'm like this. Okay, so let's flip this and see. True and false, because it flipped the wrong way while it was following me. Let's see. Good. Yes, it's working. Let's jump. Yes, and it's flipped. And it's flipped. Yes, so it's also playing the flying animation even when it's not following me, though I want it to play the animation even if I'm not inside, because as you can see, it starts the animation. It starts the idle animation when I'm not inside the sphere. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go back to our enemy code. Here we can say if the player is inside the inside the enemy sphere, sorry, it will follow the player. Else, if it's not, then all you have to do is play the animation sprite, play the enemy fly. So now if we should play the game, it should start with the idle animation. Or let's see, let's play it and see. If we should go, it should be flying. Good. And that's it. And we jump and it flips. We jump and it flips and it stops. Good. Alright, so this is very, very good progress for today. I don't want the video to be too long. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. I would love to hear comments about the audio quality. As you all know, I got a new mic and I want to know if everything is clear and understandable from your side. Alright, see you guys next time.